Welcome. This is Ntv at One. I'll start with this one from Mulago. A cleaner at a medical center in Busia, district has been arrested for reportedly administering wrong drugs to a 2-year-old baby, which caused the boy's death. The toddler's mother accuses the man of injecting her son with a drug that worsened his condition. We have a report.
This distraught woman is the mother of the 2-year-old boy who died of an alleged drug overdose in Cares Medical Center in Busia district. She says she took her son to the clinic after he developed a high temperature, but a man masquerading as a doctor gave him drugs that worsened his condition.
Malisa waka mtoto maji tena naongeza dawa kwa maji hiyo, naongeza dawa na anameleta sindani 3 hivi, naongeza dawa kwa juu. Kwa hiyo juu ya maji hiyo naongeza dawa. Amesha tena kupiga mtoto kwinini. Amesha kupiga mtoto dawa nyingine. Nenda kuona mtoto nakuja maji nakuja spidi kwa mtoto.
Hassan's condition deteriorated and he was later pronounced dead. The suspect, who's been identified as Christopher Osagendo, is a cleaner at the clinic. He, however, denies the accusations.
I just advise her that you find a way of taking this child somewhere else or else to throw, because the way I was seeing the child was as if lacking blood. I told her, how do you take this child to Tororo? Now she told me, let me keep here this child for a while as I look for my husband.
The police carried out investigations at the medical center and found that the license had expired in December last year.
Now, in a bid to achieve zero tolerance to violence against children, Uganda has registered milestones, and the record of success has been announced at a National Day of Prayer and Action for Children in Kampala this morning. And my Uget District Traffic Police Officer is boasting of a new office from an appalling one that they have had for ages, in the 22 million shillings permanent structure offered by Al-Bayt Islamic Foundation, a humanitarian organization, replaces the wooden kiosk that leaked during rainy seasons. Dr. Stephen Kasima, the acting director of Traffic and Road Safety, commissioned the fully furnished office in a call against reckless driving, particularly for border cyclists.
Continue to the National Anthem. We go ahead.
It's a pleasure that you want to open officially this building. Thank you very much.
The other one is
And at less than 2% penetration, even if boasting of some growth, it is going to take some incentives by government, according to the Finance Minister, Maria Chiwanuka, to force further the growth for the insurance sector. And speaking at the official entry of the new insurance broker firm to Uganda, the industry has challenged to be adaptable.
Insurance market penetration, despite efforts by the private sector, has defied the 2% threshold. And apparently, government admits they shall have to assist the private sector through some incentives.
Introduction of legislation making it mandatory to take out insurance, for example, healthcare. The future liberalization of key sectors, such as the pension sector, to provide long-term financing for business sourcing, and providing business incentives to companies that take out insurance.
She was speaking at the official entry of a new insurance broker firm, Aris, into Ugandan market.
When someone passes away and he could be the only one on whom everyone else in the family was dependent upon. So what is needed and what we are trying to do is create products that fit a community. They fit a group of people according to their income. That's why everyone is talking about microinsurance. Microinsurance is supposed to be insurance for the poor.
And all you need is to adopt to a more advanced risk management practices and develop responsive insurance solutions to match the challenges of the time.
Aris established their Ugandan presence through a takeover of another firm, Barrage, already in the market.
We take it back now to this story, and in a bid to achieve zero tolerance to violence against children, Uganda has registered milestones, and the record of success has been announced at the National Day of Prayer Action for Children in Kampala this morning.
Give a lot of energy, wisdom, and encouragement to our members of Parliament, so that as they deliberate on important issues, they deliberate important issues for our children.
We saw on the television where the child was burnt because of picking some meat from the saucepan on the idide, and that shows child abuse.
Maybe they have quarreled, a mother with a father. Then the mother said that, I don't want your child. When the father remains with her or him, then he brings another mom. That mom will punish that child because he don't know, or she don't know how labor pains are.
The children, as before, it was 42% being violated, their freedom was being violated. But as per now we speak, because that was some 2 years back, but as per now we speak, it is 67.4%, their freedom has increased. That is meaning that from behind, which was 42, their freedom is increasing than before, from the violence they had before.
We're now going to take a short break, and Ntv At One comes back immediately after this.
Use White Star Laundry Bar Soap with a lemon fragrance, and you'll have a fresh, clean day. Be like a star. Use White Star.
Don't disturb Daddy. My daddy is a star.
White Star Laundry Bar Soap. All day fresh clean.
Get ready to be counted. Knowing how many we are makes it easy to plan for all of us. So, answer all questions correctly. Your information is confidential and is only used for equitable resource allocation, improving service delivery, and planning. Count for what counts. Starting from 28th August to 6th September 2014, together we count.
On the next episode, brought to you by...
At Orange, we know you want to do more on the internet. That's why we bring you happy hour day and night.
Valiente. Then why are you trying to stop me? And why in the world are you teaching me all of these stupid things when my father is grieving my death even though I'm still alive?
I buried your son, Gardo. You said that he's a Braganza, right?
Gardo never raped Leo. Leona who told me the truth, and Mother knows everything.
Way, Gardo's body has been found.
What are you saying?
Gardo's already dead. Listen to me.
The reason for firing that gun?
Valiente. You can download movies at the lowest prices and never fast from Orange. Dial *133# to buy a data bundle. Happy hour changes with Orange. Today changes with Orange.
Well, the census for Ugandans will start on the 28th August to the 6th of September and involves door-to-door visits to all households in Uganda. That's during the specified period. The census conducted every 10 years was delayed for 2 years because of lack of funding. And ahead of this year's census, the Ministry of Lands has joined Uganda Bureau of Statistics to get Ugandans involved in the exercise. I've got Godfrey Nabongo here with me, the leader in charge of publicity, census publicity at the Uganda Bureau of Statistics, to shed more light on how this exercise is actually going to be carried on. Godfrey Nabongo, you're very welcome to Ntv At One.
Thank you very much.
Great. Give us an update of what is going on right now. Are we all set?
We are set. And I think we are trying to make sure the public is as well set. In terms of preparations, we have just completed the training for the sub-county supervisors. And over the weekend, they start training the enumerators. Now, when you get that point, you'll know we are at it. Because these enumerators are also trained for 10 days, will canvass the country, households all over the country, establishing who slept or who will have slept in those households on the night of 27th, which is the census night. And this is what is critical for the public to appreciate. 27th, that night, as we go into the morning, just get a record of who will have spent the night in your house. That's what we shall be asking about. And a few other questions that are critical for national development.
But how will you tell that, you know, a certain individual slept in a certain house on the very night of the census?
That's why we are appealing to the public, because we are really taking the public through it all, that the census night is 27th August, but it is a reference night. So we don't do the census in the night.
Okay.
We start asking questions on the 28th. So we appeal to everybody to take note of who spends that night in your household.
There's a message that's been put across by the president on why the census is being carried out, and the issues of land also coming into question, and how the government has to use census statistics to plan for the citizenry. So in relation to matters of land, why is it important for Ugandans to be counted, and how does that marry in?
Yeah, when it comes to matters of land, as you know, we call this the National Population and Housing Census. And housing falls under the docket, same docket as lands, Ministry of Lands. So there's a lot of information we collect which relates to land. For instance, the matter of land. We ask about ownership of land on which you're staying. Matters of ownership of land, by knowing how many people own the land which they occupy, it can give an indication of how many people have the leeway to develop themselves better. As you know, when you own land, you can readily access credit. You can also do programs of long-term nature on that land. Say if it is agriculture, if I simply lend you my land, I'll even put conditions. There are crops you don't have to grow. You not put woodlots on my land. But if it is my land, I'll do anything with it. So the question of knowing how many people own land, it gives an indication of how much people can invest, how much people can benefit from land.
And the amount of land.
And no, during the census, you're not asking about the amount of land.
So you ask about which land?
Just ownership, the land which you occupy, where you are, whether you own that land. And also where you are doing the agriculture holding, because you ask something about agriculture. Where you are doing your agriculture, do you own that land? Whose land is it? Is it customary? Is it a freehold? We try to get the land tenure system pertaining to that land. Because like I said, in terms of understanding the developments that can be thereon, in terms of understanding what can be planned, if say in a given area the ownership is largely freehold, maybe it's like people owning the land, then you can quickly count, say you can do the following projects, you can do the following programs.
Okay. Yeah. The issues of land, we cannot finish them right now.
Oh, sure.
Just going forward, are you, in relation to land aside, which other data are you going to focus on?
We are focusing on, a lot of personal data, but today let me talk about housing. That section concerning housing conditions, the section concerning really what the households are like. It is important to understand what kind of houses people have. In terms of planning, for instance, the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development needs to know levels of congestion. When you ask the kind of houses people live in, we even ask how many rooms are used for sleeping. When you establish that a household has 10 people and they have 2 rooms for sleeping, assuming the head and spouse use one, it means the other 8 use 1 room. And that could be a very high level of congestion. It means there is a need that is unmet concerning housing.
Okay, great.
It means congestion must be addressed.
We really have a very, very short time.
Sure.
We cannot exhaust all these questions, but I believe you have worked on the issues of how will people identify census officials. I believe that is in place. Briefly, can you just take us through that and then we wind up?
Well, the census officials will come dressed in orange aprons with the census logo, similar to what I have on my shirt.
Like this one?
Yes. And they'll have letters of appointment. So in cases of doubt, ask them to identify themselves.
And identity cards?
No, they don't have identity cards because there are so many countrywide, we are not able to give identity cards. But they'll have appointment letters and they'll be dressed in aprons. But where you have doubt, the local leaders, LC ones, will be taking them around, introducing them to you.
All right.
Where you have doubts, consult them.
We've run out of time. Dr.
Sure.
Godfred Nabongo is the leader of census publicity at the Ghana Bureau of Statistics. Thank you very much. We'll be looking forward to you giving us more data. Let's move on. Police in Masaka have arrested 2 men suspected of being fake traditional doctors. It's also alleged that the 2 were involved in conning people out of lots of money. These men had a shrine in Nyendo town where they were operating. Police set the shrine on fire and the suspects were detained at Masaka Central Police Station. We have a report.
These 2 suspected witch doctors have been identified as Abdul Sekajigo and Muzaffaru Sebide. Sekajigo is a resident of Chabakuza Trading Center in Masaka, while Muzaffaru resides in Machindye, a Kampala suburb. They were arrested in Nyendo town where they had set up their shrine. Their arrest followed a complaint from a one Irene Nachito to police that the men had conned her out of money after promising to find a solution to her problems.
tebalinako kapapula konna certificate tebalina ate abaana bato bali kufera abantu.
Police, led by the Masaka District Police Commander John Mwaule, set the shrine on fire.
Tulabula abantu mwekengereze nnyo abantu mubikolagana nabo tufune ekirango ku radio ogendeyo.
Staff with the World Health Organization battling an Ebola outbreak in West Africa say evidence on the numbers of reported cases and death has vastly underestimated the scale of the outbreak. The Nations Health Agency says that the death toll from the world's worst outbreak of Ebola now stands at 1,069 from 1,975 confirmed, probable and suspected cases. The majority were in Guinea, Sierra Leone and Liberia, while 4 people have died in Nigeria. The agency's apparent acknowledgement of the situation is worse than previously thought and could spur governments and aid organizations to take stronger measures against the virus. The World Health Organization is coordinating a massive scaling up of the international response, marshalling support from individual countries, disease control agencies, agencies with the United Nations system and others. A top World Bank official said international agencies are looking into emergency food drops and truck convoys to reach hungry people in Liberia and Sierra Leone, condoned off from the outside world to halt the spread of the virus. In the latest sign of action by the West African governments, Guinea has declared a public health emergency and sending health workers to all affected border points. Sierra Leone has declared Ebola a national emergency, as has Liberia, which is hoping that 2 of its doctors diagnosed with Ebola can start treatment with some of the limited supply of experimental drug ZMapp. That's an outbreak on the terrible Ebola outbreak in West African countries. And that runs up Ntv at One. Thank you for tuning in. We're now going to cross over to Studio B, where there is our famous sports magazine, or Mumuli. And you can join Dennis Dakawachigong and Aaron Darlin to take you through the world of sports. Enjoy your afternoon.